Hey guys, welcome back. Vincent Giallo here with good buddy the Shaman.
Howdy.
Today we're going to do a review on one of the great Giallos, Sergio Martino's 1973 classic, Torso. Little J&B here, guys, to keep it real, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I really like this one.
What makes you love this one?
You know, I think it's just the storytelling. I'm a big Martino fan. You know, A Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward and stuff like that. There's some good ones out there. And I think he did 3, maybe 4. All the Colors of the Dark he did as well. Really like his, he's a great storyteller.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, the fantastic story. Lots of red herrings in this.
Lots of red herrings.
Yeah.
You know, and the way he composes his shots and the whole thing, it's just
beautiful.
It really is spectacular. So yeah, I don't know if you just want to do a brief little synopsis there, or
Sure. Yeah. So a string of appalling lust murders shocks the University of Perugia as a sadistic serial killer strangles to death beautiful college girls with a red and black scarf. Yeah, that's the weapon of choice, huh?
Yeah, yeah, it really is. Until you know, until we get to a little bit of dismemberment later on, but that's post murders, I guess, if you will. But yeah, no, it's just a great film. Like I said, like the scenes and everything, the writing,
the greasy hippie scene.
Yeah, there's this really greasy hippie scene in the middle of this thing.
Yeah.
You know, I believe Guido and Maurizio De Angelis did the soundtrack for this.
Right.
It's kind of got this folky flute kind of song, you know, in the middle piece of this thing, and it's just one of the sleaziest scenes I've ever seen. Where, you know, there's not a lot of sex really going on per se, but it's just, you know, girl dancing like a sort of go-go dancer.
It's like like a go-go dancing.
camera,
Everybody's stoned. Everybody's making out.
The camera is right up in there, pretty much.
Oh, it's like those 20-minute workout videos from the 80s.
Yeah.
It was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's just you know, and you gotta wonder about some of these actresses back then. What, you know, how they.
Yeah.
It's just, but you know, this one scene, there's this girl, she's just topless, just sort of splayed out there, stone, and these two guys they're groping her for what seems like at least 5 minutes.
It lingers, the scene. Yeah. It's uncomfortable.
It really is uncomfortable.
But it's like the kind of like loosey-goosey attitude, I guess they had.
Yeah, well, it's pretty loosey-goosey, I'll tell you. I mean,
yeah,
geez.
Exactly.
You know, and this folky kind of hippie song playing over it. But yeah, outside of that, you know, there was a couple, 2-3 acts to this film, and the first one's kind of the setup, and the second's kind of a transitional thing of where this is going up into this villa.
Change of set.
And you know, the third act is kind of where it all really kind of lets loose, and you know, you've got the killer kind of. They've got these girls. They're schoolgirls, and you know, there's a bunch of red herrings. There's a professor. There's like the delivery driver,
scarf salesman,
all this kind of stuff. As to
locals,
yeah. You know, they're all like kind of, every time these girls come into the town for whatever reason, you know, these guys are all leering at her, like, oh man.
They always like every like they look like high fashion models, so you suspect maybe they're from, you know, New York or something, and they've never seen these glamorous girls before.
Yeah.
So they're like that. Like everybody on the street's like,
oh my god! Yeah, there was a stand, even like the kids and
it's pretty funny.
You know, mother hitting the kid, going,
yeah, exactly. Stop looking at it.
Yeah,
it's funny.
So then it gets up to this third scene where they're kind of the third act where they're up in this villa. You can actually see this villa from the town, and it's perched high up on this cliff. Beautiful setting. You know, they like these villas, like in Blade in the Dark. You know, the villa, and I just love it.
Oh well, it makes it just the scenery. You don't need a set. I mean, we just have this lush nature. It's
gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So they're up there, and this is 1973, so we kind of see the slumber party kind of thing happening, sorority kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
they're up there, kind of locked away in this villa for the weekend to get away from, you know, because one of their friends has obviously killed her earlier on in the movie. And so that's where we kind of see the killer coming and going, and there's a whole thing that kind of takes place. We don't really want to spoil it for you. You really got to check it out. But yeah, the third act, there's some great stuff in there that you don't see coming. Great writing with the killer, and like killer on one side of the door, the final girl on the other side, and they're kind of, you know, there's this whole thing, and she's trying to get out, and she doesn't know he's on the other side of the door, but he knows she's on the other side.
Great scene.
Oh my God.
Great scene. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well thought out. The scenes were great.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of things like that Martino does that are incredible. And another thing, without really giving much away, there's this one scene where, obviously some of the girls up in the villa get dispatched, and the killer comes back, hacksaw in hand to
Get rid of the bodies.
Get rid of the bodies. Yep. As one presumably does, and but so he doesn't really realize that the final girl is actually in there because she'd fallen and hurting her ankle.
That's right.
So she's up in this kind of secluded bedroom. She spent the night, went to bed early,
Passed out with booze and drugs.
Yeah,
and
sleeping
just,
pills and
sleeping
stuff.
pills. Yeah.
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 And
So she doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, so she kind of finds them in the morning. But, you see the killer come at night when the girls are alive, and they come to the door, and one of the red herrings is there and collapses through the door and dies. And you see the killer's hand, he's got the scarf, and he's choked this guy, or killed him, strangled him. But then it cuts to like the next morning and down in the town, and you're like, oh my God, this is 10 or 12 hours where we don't even know what's happened. We're skipping ahead. That's pretty ballsy, if you will, to be doing that, because it just seems strange to cut straight to the next day, and you're sitting there as a viewer going, okay, so what the hell's gone on since?
Yeah, that's right.
And we don't actually see until what we do see is the results. So the next morning, girl wakes up. Hey guys, where's my breakfast in bed? Turns out, well, there's a reason for that. He comes down the stairs, and there's her friends, in various states of
Not being alive anymore.
right. And so then the third part there takes place. Killer comes back, and he didn't realize at one point that she was actually up there. But he's roaming around the town in the evening, probably going to get a bottle of J&B and wander down the street.
Probably.
But he overhears this bread delivery guy that was making trips up and down to the villa, saying, oh, there's 4 girls up there, blah, blah, blah. He's talking to his buddies, oh, I could have her, and all this sort of thing. And they're like, oh, what are you talking about? There's only 3. Oh, no, there's 4. I seen her.
Yeah.
And so the killer just happens to overhear this.
Just happens to.
Turns around, straight up the hill.
Yep.
Boom, hacksaw in hand, and the whole thing.
Yeah, fantastic ending.
And the ending, like I said, him on one side of the door, her on the other. He knows she's there. She doesn't know. There's a scene there, guys. It is fantastic.
Yep.
You're like, oh my gosh, this is great. Really, really great movie.
Hard to guess who the killer is, too.
It really is.
Really hard.
I rewatched it again. I just watched this recently, but I watched it a second time, and just to kind of watch it back, knowing who the killer was.
Yep.
You'd be pretty hard pressed to guess. I mean, you could just take a random guess and say, "Oh, I think it's this guy," but there's not a lot of evidence to suggest that it was him, because there's no real until he explains, why he doesn't explain it. But until we kind of learn why this person did what they did, it'd be pretty hard to figure out.
Indeed.
Good story.
Yeah. Oh, did you know during production that none of the cast was told who the killer was?
Oh, it makes sense.
Yep, yeah. And because of the high amount of red herrings in the film, and many of the actresses were convinced it was someone else doing all of the murders. So that's kind of fun.
That is
See directors doing that now, not telling
yeah.
casts what the storyline is.
So smart though. Back then too. I mean, that's it's a great film, guys. Check it out. We'll do a quick. I meant to bring this out earlier. So here we've got the Blue Underground Blu-ray. Now I believe Arrow just released this a while ago as well. I have this one. I wasn't going to get it again. This has the movie in Italian and English. Interesting thing, guys. This film, parts of it are in English, parts of it are in Italian. So if you're watching the subtitles or like the dubbing, the mouth, some of the actors spoke English, some of them spoke Italian. So it's kind of a combo. It's like a co-production, if you will.
Yep.
But yeah, there's Murders in Perugia interview with Sergio Martino, which I'd highly recommend. Love Martino. The U.S. opening credits, which says Torso, and I believe there's the Italian credits as well. It's a different name, obviously, in Italian. They simplified it as Torso to make it more lurid for the American audiences.
Works.
Trailers, TV spots, things like that. But there's a good look at his mask there, if you can see that.
Dope.
Oh, so good. And the score for this, Maurizio and Guido De Angelis, I believe. Great soundtrack. I don't remember if it's put out on Dago Red or maybe it was Mondo. Really, really good. I don't have it. I'd like to get it. Yeah. It's really, really great. And that folky kind of pieces in the middle with the flute.
It's
really,
trippy.
really cool.
Trippy.
And check this out, guys. Anchor Bay VHS. I love this. You can just sort of see him kind of like in the movie, just sort of off in the background there, kind of. It's good. Look at that. So good. Yeah. Really good stuff, guys. So, Torso VHS, unbelievable. Nice clamshell. I love these tapes. I have this, Blade in the Dark, and New York Ripper. My 3 favorite Giallo on VHS. I just love this tape.
Nice.
So that pretty much wraps it up, guys. Leave us some comments below. Let us know what you think about it. Please subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. And we will talk to you guys on the next one. Take care, guys.
See ya.